Yes, cameras are absolutely optional, especially when I'm presenting. I am going to break for questions about halfway through, and you're going to get a lot out of this if you bring your questions to the floor so that we can actually dive into your business and make a real impact here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and introduce what we're doing today. Real quick, Gabby, did you get the handout out to people?
I actually did not receive a handout. I
Okay,
apologize.
so I've got a link. That's okay. I've got it right here.
Okay.
Yes, I have a little bag of tricks that I always keep on hand. All
Of
right, so
course you do.
there's the link to the handout. You will be able to follow along just fine, even if you don't have it. But if you would like to use it, you now have it in your hot little hands. All right, I'm going to jump in now. All right. All right, so go ahead and open up the chat. I want to get a little conversation going there since everyone does not have their cameras on. I want to make sure there's going to be some back and forth. So the first thing I want you to do is you're going to say yes if you have ever felt like this. My brain has too many tabs open. As a business owner, we have so many things going on. So do you ever feel like this? Yes, thanks, Rod, for participating, and Stacy for saying yes to the handout. Yep. Okay. All right. So at first blush, we can see that we've got the right people in the room. Yes. Well, here's the good news. The really good news for you is today is not going to be about teaching you 52 new ways to simplify your marketing. This is not about doing more. It is about learning how to maximize what is already working. Because what I know about you is you're good. You are accomplished. Your heart is in the right place, but you're here today. So that probably means you're feeling a bit of frustration. Maybe you're working too many hours or have a sneaking suspicion that you might be lacking in some structures, or your systems could use some beefing up, and you want this whole business thing to be a lot easier. Well, this is the right place. You are at More Clients, Less Marketing, how to create more leads and income by doing less. If you are a newer business owner and you want to stop all the wondering and worrying about where your next client is coming from, you're going to really enjoy this. This is going to help. If you're a little bit further down the road, what happens when you're a little more experienced is if things get messy and you look for ways to streamline client generation. This is also going to be helpful for you. So here's what we're going to cover today. The first thing is you'll learn a simple mindset tool that melts your resistance to implementing marketing. Number two, you're going to create a customized lead generation strategy that will allow you to stop wasting time and money on things that don't work. Because wouldn't you rather be like on the beach or I don't know, playing with your kids than doing more marketing that isn't working? Of course. And the third thing is you're going to go over the 6 essential elements of an effective client generation plan that makes it easier to attract clients, grow your income, and make a bigger impact in the world. And then we're also going to take some reflection time towards the end, where you're going to start to look at how to integrate what you've learned, the ahas and insights and strategies. How do you integrate that into your business so you don't just like run off to the next thing? Want this to actually make an impact. A few housekeeping things. I am not going to be keeping the chat open while I'm teaching because it's super distracting. If you have questions, you're welcome to put them in there. I will stop for any question you put in there and any question you have about halfway through after my second teaching point. And then we should have some time at the end as well. Highly, highly recommend that you do your homework in class here today. That means do the exercises, get this stuff done, because the more you do here, this time you've already set aside, then the less you have to do and less that goes onto your to-do list outside of here. Okay, so that's all the housekeeping. So I do have another question for you, and this is an important one. I want to get a little more insight into why you are here. So in the chat, maybe in 10 words or less, could you let me know why this topic is important to you? You all said, yes, I have so many tabs open in my brain. You have so many things going on. You could be doing probably 15 other things right now, but you're here. So what makes this topic important to you right now? And I'll give you a minute to put those answers in the chat.
Mary, since we have such an intimate group here, do you mind if they unmute and maybe say
I
it over
don't
the
mind.
mic? Okay.
They don't see, no one's really popped in yet. So I didn't want to put the pressure on having to come unmute yourself.
Okay, no problem.
So either way, if you want to unmute and just quickly and tell me why this is important to you, that's great. Or in the chat, whatever is better, but please respond one way or the other. Less marketing got my interest. Okay, Rod, what's your business? All right. I have a hard time staying focused. Okay, great. I'd love to know what your businesses are too, if you don't mind putting that in the chat, just to know who's here in the room. San Luis Kitchen Co. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. What else? I've got less marketing, got my interest. Rod, I'd love to know what your business is. So I'm going to keep going, and feel free to pop your answers in there whenever you can. All right, so here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to build this content from the ground up. And the first thing I always like to do is kind of pull back the curtain on where this all comes from. Because yes, today I run a great coaching and training company. We just turned 13 years old, and I've helped thousands of business owners to grow their business. And it's fulfilling work, it's incredible work, it's profitable work. But when I get started, it didn't look anything like this. You might be able to relate, because the first thing I did was I made the terrifying decision to leap out of a stable but soul-crushing work situation. And suddenly I opened my business and I was absolutely on fire. I got my own freedom. I'm aligned with my values. I'm leveraging my strengths. I'm contributing to the prosperity of others. But I was also running in a dozen different directions. I was not charging what I was worth, or I didn't even know what to charge. My efforts were scattered. They were all over the place. I was always trying new things, pushing, working longer hours, adding more and more to my plate. Now, what I know now is I should have pulled together a client generation plan, but I had to learn it the hard way. I came in the form of a health crisis. So less than 2 years into my business, I completely burned out. I was actually diagnosed with adrenal exhaustion, and the time and energy I had to devote to my business was now severely restricted. And so I had to figure out how to survive the crisis. And the worst part was that judgy voice in my head that was saying, "Who do you think you are? Of course this didn't work for you." It was awful. But luckily, a clearer voice broke through, and it just asked a single question. And I'm going to recommend you write this down. This is the first thing I recommend you write down. The question that popped into my head was, what's working? That was it. What's working? Because I no longer had the time or energy to chase down what social's doing with its algorithms this week, or what's the latest, greatest marketing trend. I needed to know that whatever strategy I put my very limited energy into, it would actually produce results. And the fact is, starting with that one question, my business started to grow as my health improved. And over time, that one question actually evolved into a bigger client generation system. That's what you're seeing on the screen right now. This is the reason my clients consistently increase their income 50% or more. And it's the reason that I have such relief to know that regardless of what happens, if health concerns pop up again, if my aging parents need me, I am not trapped by working 50, 60 hours just to make ends meet. So this is what we're going to start to dive into today. We're going to start with a simple mindset tool that melts your resistance to implementing marketing. So here's the thing. I could show you the best thing since sliced bread, the best way to spend your time, but if marketing, if client generation, if putting yourself out there, if all of that always falls to the bottom of your list, then mindset, we've got to address that first. If we don't, what will happen is you will snap back to doing what you've always done. So here is the tool. It is a single, simple question that gently but persistently shifts your perspective. And here it is. The question is, am I willing for this to be easy? Now, this works because your brain is essentially wired to say yes. When you tell yourself something will difficult, your brain says, yes, I can make this really hard for you. Let me throw some obstacles and resistance in your way. But when you start to use this tool kind of like a mantra, am I willing for this to be easy? Am I willing for this to be easy? Your brain pipes up and says, yes, let me do away with all that pesky stress. Let me serve up some simple solutions. I am here for you. And it is about getting in alignment with the possibilities of this working for you, of things being easier. And it's not just a kind of an airy-fairy, like, ooh, let's all kumbaya together. This is a strong foundation. I have had clients who, like, they wanted to jump into the strategies of delegating and price strategies and all of that. And fundamentally, they did not believe that business could be easy. Like, they would think, oh, when I'm with my family, I feel guilty because I'm ignoring my business. When I'm in my business, I feel guilty for ignoring my family. And so they really needed to make peace. And this mantra did it. This mantra or this question helped them to see it's possible for this to be easy. And in one example, one of my clients, she doubled her business 2 years in a row. So yes, we want to get into the strategies. That's where we're going next. And we cannot diminish the importance of mindset. All right. But let's get into the strategies, shall we? So we're going to look at how to create a customized lead generation strategy that will allow you to stop wasting time and money on things that don't work. Because here's the truth. The wonderful thing about the time we live in today is there are so many ways to get the word out. There's so many ways to market, so much lead generation, so many options to market. How do you distinguish your winning combination of activities from all of the noise that's out there? That's the trick. So today what we're going to do is we're going to tackle this piece of the puzzle, your custom formula. We're going to start your customized formula of lead generation right now. So if you don't have the handout, that's fine. Get out a document or a piece of paper where you can create 2 columns, left column, right column, so you can do this exercise. So the first step in discovering your best path forward, the most effective strategies, is you've got to stop the overwhelm. I'm sure you know that anything you do to market your business, it takes energy. That's obvious. What may not be as obvious is that all of the considerations, all the things you think you should be doing, all the things you're wondering, am I missing the boat? Am I doing this right? Am I doing enough? Everyone's talking about how I have to be on this platform or that platform. All of those wondering, worrying, should I, shouldn't I thoughts, that's also stealing your energy, and it is not paying rent. So the first step is we've got to stop that overwhelm. We've got to get those thoughts, questions, ideas out into the open so we can sort them out. So what you're going to do next is a brainstorm. I'm going to give you a minute to do this right here on our class. You're going to list all of the marketing, lead gen, exposure, all of the things. You're going to list all the activities you do consistently already, the things you do inconsistently, the things you think you should be doing, that little nagging voice, the things you're curious about trying, the things you're worried about missing out on, the things that are being advertised to you everywhere. What we want to do is create some mental space by getting it out on paper and then making some decisions so we can hang on to what's working and let go of what's not. So I'm going to give you 1 minute starting right now. This is about quantity, not quality. So what you want is a long list. So just as an example, what you're seeing on your screen right now is what my list looked like at one point in my business. Lots of things all over the place. If I could do all of these things, I certainly couldn't do them all myself. And if I did try to do them all myself, or even if I delegated them, I wouldn't say that I'd be able to do them very well or strategically. So congratulations, first step, check. You've cleared out some space in your mind. So now, how do we identify what works for you? How are we going to focus in on the marketing activities, the lead generation activities that will bring you great clients? So in the second column, what you're going to do is write down the names of 5 great clients. 5 great clients. Now, only write down the names of clients who are great examples of your ideal client. You see that smiley face in the upper right-hand corner of your screen? Yes, that's what that means. Only list clients who are easy to work with. They appreciate your expertise. They pay you on time without haggling. It is critically important not to include any PETA clients. That's pain in the ass clients. They are the ones that make you cringe, or your stomach starts to sink when you think about them. This plan that we're going to start today will show you how to duplicate whatever you put in that second column. Don't duplicate the PETAs. Nobody needs that. So take that. And if you don't have clients yet, if you are so new that you don't have clients yet, hang on for just a second. I'll give you another evaluation method. I will not leave you out, I promise. For those of you who do have clients and you've got your 5 people, for the purposes of our exercise today, we're just going to do 5. You may want to do more when you have a little more time. But the next step is to create a bridge between your marketing actions and getting clients who you just adore and who adore you back. The way you do that is simply to draw a line from the name of the client over to the strategy that brought them to your door. What you will usually find is there is a concentration in just a handful of activities that actually produce results. These strategies form the foundation of your plan, showing you where to focus your precious time and energy so you get the best results. Now, for anyone who has not gotten their first 5 fantastic clients, here's what you're going to do to evaluate that marketing brainstorm. So you're going to write down 3 words. 3 words. First word is like, L-I-K-E, like, as in I like to do that. Number 2 is know, K-N-O-W, as in knowledge. So like, know, and then results. Like, know, results. Your evaluation is going to go like this. You're going to go through that list, your brainstorm list, and say, okay, which of these things do I like to do? You don't have resistance, you enjoy them, you put a check mark next to the things you like to do. You're going to go through that list again. You're going to say, okay, which of these things do I know how to implement a strategy around? Which of these things do I know already? That cuts down on your learning curve. So all the things that you know how to do strategically right now, put a check mark next to. And then the third thing you're going to go through one more time, you're going to put a check mark next to all of the things that traditionally get results in your industry or have gotten results for you in the past. And this may get, you may have to take a little time to talk to different people about what actually works, what actually gets them results. And I can give you some insights. We're about to go to some Q&A. But what you're going to do is start with the items on your list that you like to do, know how to do, and traditionally get results in your industry. You're going to start with the items that have all 3 of those check marks. That's going to be your starting point of your plan. And then your next step, and I don't think I have a slide for this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The next step for this is you want to take those strategies and I'm looking at my list. I see speaking. Okay, speaking, that's a strategy. You've got to break it down to an action, because the idea here is that we want to create a list of activities that you can do, you can check them off, and at the end of the month, you are getting consistent results month after month after month. So you've got to be specific, and that means you have to translate these strategies into action. So let's take speaking. Speaking is a strategy. You put speaking on your to-do list, and what do you do about it? It's a strategy. It's not an action. You need to turn it into an action. So for speaking, some actions around that. You might need to take an hour to research groups you might speak for. You might take another hour to do outreach, because you have to do inquiries. You have to apply to speak to most places. So any of these things that are lighting up as the things that are going to bring you the most results, you got to break it down into actions that you can take on a consistent basis. So I'm going to stop here. I have a cute little what did you discover slide. We don't even need to see this. So let me grab some of the, we're going to do 2 things during this part of the presentation. I want to hear, what did you learn? And what questions do you have? while you're thinking of those things to put into the chat, I am going to read what's in the chat from earlier. So Christella, who was our receptionist, thank you for putting your name in there, by the way. I'm a relatively new insurance agent. I'm also a lifelong learner. Communication is my strength. I see this webinar as a way to connect the dots and improve. Fantastic. And Rod is the marketing role for geriatric care management and dementia consulting and staff member for South County Chambers of Commerce. Fantastic. Okay. So we're caught up now. So what did you discover from this exercise? And please unmute yourself and interact here. It's how you will get the most out of this, because we can actually work on your business individually at this point. So Rod says 80-20 rule. Okay. Can you give some context to your comment of 80-20? Oh, unmuted. Yay.
Hello there.
Hi.
Yes. Let me step away.
Okay. All right. So while you're stepping away.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I mean by that is identifying high referral partners when you become sure you can look at business from a B2C, business to customers, but you can also have a B2B role. So who from a B2B role are professionals who can refer you your ideal clients. So
Yes.
targeting and identifying, in my case, geriatric care managers, I found that the legal professionals, our insurance folks, and financial folks, the top 3 business professionals are ideally refer majority of clients to our business.
Fabulous. Excellent. How do you nurture those relationships?
Phone calls, introductions.
Awesome.
As a organization, I like to make an introductory call, and we find that those professionals really are interested in wanting to learn more about what a care manager does, and generally curiosity about knowing them and referrals.
Nice. Excellent. And so are you looking to get more referrals?
I'm looking at expanding my little operation, geriatric care manager, on a nationwide marketing campaign. I want to build take what I've learned in a small community and grow the same system operations to other smaller communities and bring it nationwide.
Nice. And so other people would be doing your role in these other locations?
Yeah.
Fabulous.
I'll be in a coaching, mentoringship person on how operations and procedures and coaching.
Excellent.
This is what I rolled out, and yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Yeah. And part of that rolling out other locations is all about process. And one thing, as I'm sure you know, operations is all about processes. Marketing, lead generation is one of the places where I find people really drop the ball on processes. So if you aren't already doing this, highly recommend documenting what you're doing as far as reaching out to people, the emails you're using for introductions and things like that, because surprisingly, most people love referrals, but they don't know how to do it and get them systematically. And if you can instill in these new locations the habits of a very structured referral generation strategy, that'll be incredible.
Yes, thank you. I found myself recording myself on live calls.
Oh, smart. Just fabulous.
Watch my videos, look at how I'm engaging, the questions I ask. I have a list, procedures, outlines of how I make initial contacts, how I follow up. Systems and operations are being recorded.
Wonderful. All right, great. I'm going to go back to the chat, and Stacy responded, and welcome, Stacy. I know you came a few minutes after we started, providing continuing education opportunities to potential referral sources. So do you want to comment on that a little more?
Sure. So similar to, thank you for doing this webinar. I really appreciate it. Similar to someone named Liana, who replied right after me, most of my clients to this point have come either from a Google search or word of mouth. Which is great. And that would be, those are my customers. But what I would really like to see is referrals from healthcare providers. So whether that's a walk-in clinic, emergency department, family practice, whatever. And the traditional way of marketing to those groups is extremely time consuming, inefficient, very dependent on your ability to get past the front office manager when they are inundated by vendors and pharmaceutical reps. So I have had some, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What is your business?
My business is called Concussion Navigation Services, and I'm the only specialty concussion rehab clinic within about 150 miles.
Wow. Yeah. You know what, you're absolutely right. I've had worked with clients in the past, and they're like, I just think I need to talk to doctors, and they're going to bring me in because they're in some kind of profession that would be a good partner to doctors. And I said, I don't recommend it. And they said, I don't care, and went their own way. And the gatekeepers are just, it's impenetrable, because those clinics and everything, they are just bombarded. They are just bombarded, like you said, with vendors. So finding, what I found is the key is to find who already has their foot in the door.
So what do you mean by that?
Who can you create relationships with, who has a lot of relationships with clinics already? Got it. Yeah. You've got to go one step removed. You want introductions from people who are already in there. So that's one way to get behind a difficult perimeter. The other is, I've been thinking about this, like, who are you a secret weapon for? Okay. Okay. So like, who does their job better, or can accomplish what they need to have been hired to accomplish better because of you coming in? Okay. And it's best if they know it. And I can, well, first of all, make sure I get your information, because I don't have any needs, but I want to be able to refer you, because clearly, if you're the only person focusing on concussions, do you actually, have you gone to any of the youth sports teams?
Interesting question. I have tried a number of times to reach out specifically to either the youth sport organizations president, who's usually a parent volunteer, or they all have a safety officer. And so I've tried to reach out to them directly and approach it from a coaching education perspective. So I would love to come in and do an in-service for your coaches so that they can better recognize concussion if it were to happen in one of your athletes, and, remove them and get them care quicker. And then also protect your organization from any unnecessary liability by having a plan in place. And they are so afraid of the word concussion that the perception is just a perception, but the perception I get is, the less they look into it, the less culpable they are. Okay. It's almost like ignorance is bliss.
Okay. So I have a suggestion for that, and it's an experiment. So, but one thing I have done very successfully, and my clients have done successfully, is instead of pitching people what you have, asking for their advice. Oh. Okay. I heard the light bulb. I didn't even have to see your face. Yeah. You know what? I want to get a perspective on youth sports in the area. I specialize in concussion and could really use your perspective.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I would say the other thing is quantity of contacts. Like, come at it from all angles, because I bet you there is someone on one of those boards somewhere who, and talk to your own network and say, and ask, who do you know who is on these youth programs?
Right.
We're in contact and just keep talking to people about it. Because what happens, like in my own business, what I found is I started talking about client generation, and finally I found the people who are really listening or professional executive life health coaches.
Yeah.
And consultants of various ilks. And that's where it really caught on. But I just had to talk to a lot of people for a long time.
And thankfully I'm extroverted. I don't have a problem talking to people. I really like the suggestion of the warm call versus the cold call.
Yeah.
Because I get how burdened our healthcare system is, and I don't want to be another burden.
No, you need to come in because someone's raving about you. I mean, once you start working with people and they're going to their doctors and saying, oh, thank God for Stacy and so on, that is how it's going to catch on. But trying to beat down the front door, there's too much competition. There are too many barriers. It's too rough emotionally.
Yeah. Amen.
All right. Well, thank you for like talking that through.
Thank you.
And I'll have a couple resources for you as well. Let me get to some of the other comments.
Sure.
I can keep going but thank you, Stacy. Let's see. So Leanna, yes, half my clients find me by Googling. Yeah. I always think of doubling down on whatever's working. And if there is an opportunity to put a certain amount of money into advertising and you can start to measure the results. I mean, if you can put $500 into advertising and get $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 in business, it's a no-brainer and it's a money machine. So, I'm not saying yes, pro advertising or con advertising, but yeah, if there's more opportunity there and you would like more business, then I would look into it. And I'm wondering if MCSC has someone who's an expert on Google advertising. That might be something to look into.
Yes, we do.
I knew it. I knew it. All right, let me grab the next couple of comments. Let's see. Christella says, seeing that I could skip a lot of traditional have-tos in my industry and create my own approach based on my strengths is what I like. No cold calls or feeling like I'm selling. Have a relaxed conversation with people and educate and cut through the confusion about insurance. Absolutely. And thank you. It's not a good time for you to unmute. Totally understand. You're grown-ass adults. Take care of yourself. I trust you. The fastest, I want you to write this down. This is so important. The fastest way to the cold market is through your warm market for most service-based professionals. Fastest way to the cold market is through your warm market. Find out who your people know, get those introductions, warm introduction. It's so much, like I said, it's so much more, it's emotionally so much easier on you and it's more effective. Yes, resistance threshold is lower. And Leanna, very intriguing. I found out something very interesting about Yelp, ... Leanna, are you going to share it or just leave us on a cliffhanger? Okay, maybe you're typing. So let me, as you're probably writing that and sharing something, I did want to give you one additional resource before I move on to the last teaching point and hopefully a little Q&A time at the end. So what I know is that for service-based businesses, which is my specialty, for service-based businesses, the top two ways that people get clients is through referrals or through speaking a lot of times. And a couple of you have commented about education. And what the education does is it gives you the know, like, trust continuum that you have to go down to create buyers. So because those are the top two ways, and because like if you through this exercise said, oh, referrals or oh, speaking would be great. That's great to know the what, I want to also equip you with the how, the nuts and bolts. Like, what is the email I send? What is the Google search I do? How do I ask for referrals without feeling awkward? So I have 2 short classes that I'm going to gift to you that has that whole breakdown. I mean, they are checklists, they are templates. It's taking a lot of the guesswork out of how to get more referrals and how to get booked for speaking where you can attract new clients. So if you would like those, you can send me an email. And this is one of those do your homework in class opportunities. That's one of my themes for the year. Do your homework in class, try to get everything done while you're in a meeting. You can send me an email right now to mary@simplygetclients.com. It's actually under my name right here. If you're listening to the replay, you're welcome to do this as well. You can send me an email, mary@simplygetclients.com, with a subject line smile, because I know more referrals will make you smile. So I'm going to put that, I just put that into the chat as well. So while you're doing that, Leanna, sorry you're having technical issues. Gabby and I were struggling with that earlier. I understand. You spent a lot of money on Yelp, hardly any results. Then I saw they have suppressed some wonderful reviews. A man who was assigned to my case told me they will not show unless the person first found us from Yelp. Oh my gosh. So your great reviews don't show up unless the person found you first through Yelp. Oh, that's good to know, and a little unsettling. Okay, I thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure I certainly didn't know that. I don't advertise on Yelp, but damn, that's pretty harsh. Okay, I'm gonna keep going and make sure that we get wrapped up on time. So we're going to jump into the next piece. I'm going to actually minimize the chat so it doesn't distract me. All right. Let's talk about the 6 essential elements of an effective client generation plan that makes it easier to attract clients, grow your income, and make a bigger impact in the world. So in order to succeed, you've got to have a client generation system and a plan that consistently attracts those high quality clients you're looking for. So what is your current plan to generate new business without overworking? Now, most people do not have an overall strategy because they learn a little tactic over here and a little process over there. And what they end up with is kind of a time-consuming mess. It's very scattered. So what I'm going to equip you with is the bigger picture understanding of client generation, so that regardless of whether you're in the early stages or more experienced, you can get more consistency and control over attracting high quality clients who can afford your services. This is the model we're going to work from, of course, like I'm always doing. And what I'm going to have you do is a simple evaluation to understand where you are right now with your client generation plan, because I'm sure there are things you've already figured out in your business. There's things that are working great, and there are other things that need to be tuned up. So you're going to take the time to take a breath and evaluate and figure out which is which right now. So I'm going to simplify this image. We're going to focus on the core here. I'm going to go over each of these 6 essential elements. You will assess how clearly defined, how well each piece is working in your business on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is you don't have anything dialed in. You have nothing in this category. 10 is ideal. It's the goal. This is where you have the element working at peak efficiency and effectiveness, allowing you to do less work and get better results. So starting over on the left with values and vision. So values and vision play into client generation because when you have your values, your vision, your why you do what you do, you create a sense of conviction. It gives you the courage to keep going in the face of rejection, ask to be paid what you're worth, take bigger risks, bigger chances on yourself and what you're doing. So on a scale of 1 to 10, and by the way, important note, don't put this in the chat. This is for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, are you clear about your values and your vision and goals? All right, nice. Next is pricing and packaging. Now, this is an obvious one, but it is important. Is your pricing structured so it really honors your value? So you're really owning your value. Is it structured so you're paying yourself decently and not just rolling everything back into the business? So the bottom line question is, are you clear and confident that your pricing is where it needs to be for you to reach your financial goals without overworking. I should say that. 1 to 10. Next is ideal client clarity. Now, here's a little tip. When describing your ideal client, that description never starts with the words, I'd be willing to work with. Okay, get clear about who is ideal, because the person you can serve at the highest level is also the person who will pay you at the highest level. You commit to that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how clear are you about your ideal client, who they are, what they're thinking, and where you can find the ones who can afford your services? The next element is magnetic messaging. Messaging is words that show up everywhere, the words you speak, the words that are on your website, the words that you post on social media. Messaging is magnetic when it quickly and accurately articulates what your ideal client wants from their perspective. Our problem is we become experts and we're so smart and we want to teach people and show people all our stuff that we know. And it's like we are feeding steak to a baby. We need to be able, messaging is magnetic when you are able to express what your ideal client wants, what they are suffering with from their perspective. So on a scale of 1 to 10, assess how concisely you articulate the value of your services. So when you meet people, they quickly want to have a conversation about hiring you. All right, lead generation, that exercise you did today, that's the start of your new approach to lead generation, focusing on actions that directly lead to creating prospects and sales conversations. When this is clearly defined, you can stop worrying about where your next client is coming from, or if you're doing the right things, or if you're doing enough things. When this is really dialed in, you do something absolutely remarkable for business owners, and that is you can relax. Because you know month after month, the leads are going to flow in. Otherwise, it's just a roller coaster, up and down. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you about your ability to bring in new leads consistently? All right, last piece of the machine is sales and enrollment. Can you confidently convert a prospect into a paying client? Can you have the conversation that helps them see the value of what you do without over-explaining what you do, not offering discounts as just an automatic reflex? So rate your ability to close the sale once someone says they are interested. Now that you've done that evaluation, take a moment. I want you to look up at the screen if you're not already. And I want you to imagine that there's a 10 floating above each of these little gears, 10, 10, 10, all the way across the board. Each element working at peak efficiency and effectiveness. You can imagine it probably like a little engine that just keeps going, chugga, 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 right? Now, I've waved a magic wand and this is your business. You're working less and achieving more. You're earning more, making a bigger impact. If you had 10s across the board, how would that feel? What would become possible? What would be different? And if any of the words like relief or freedom or anything like that comes up, joy, satisfaction, if any of those words are coming up, if all those good things are possible, then wouldn't it be worth some time to invest some attention here? Yes? Okay, so now we've chunked it down a little bit. So you're not trying to work on all the things. You're just going to focus in on the areas that are like the 5s and lower, the 5s and lower. And then you stay on track and consistent with it. Okay, so I'm going to skip over this story, although Kimberly is lovely, because I want to make sure that we really have the plan of action in place to create lasting impact. It's very easy to learn. It is more challenging to make sure that it translates into action outside of here. So this is the segment where we're going to walk through some planning stages. So first, based on how you're rated yourself, what I'm going to ask you to do is self-diagnose your top challenge. Usually what I find with my clients, it's one or more of 3 things that are happening. Either number 1, your strategy is shaky. Number 2, your lead generation process is unclear. Number 3, implementation is inconsistent. So how do you know which one you are? Well, if strategy is your top challenge, then you are a workhorse. You are doing the things. You're going and going and going and going. And at the end of the day, you're like, oh, did I create a new client? Did I make more money? Did I build the business? Or was I just busy instead of productive? There's no unifying strategy. That's what strategy challenge looks like. If lead generation is your top challenge, then everything's kind of hit and miss. You're pulling in some ideal clients, but for the most part, it's inconsistent. And it shows up like the income roller coaster. One day you're just on cloud 9, the next day just blows, and you never know what you're going to get. So that's lead generation, needs your attention. And how do you know if it's implementation? Well, either you have bright, shiny object syndrome, or you've grown to the point where you need to hire help, or you love to plan. Your plan is color coded and it matches with the tab in your binder and the color coded on your calendar. And at the end of the day, you might go, oh, my plan is so tidy, but no implementation has been done. So if any of those bright, shiny object, you need to hire help, or you plan to plan, those are all implementation issues. All right, so with that information, take a look again at the ratings in the last exercise, the notes you made earlier, just see what's standing out for you. Just see, are there any patterns that you feel are emerging? Just make a quick note. And actually, I'd love to, while you're doing that, I'd love in the chat, I'd love to know which one is really popping out as like the top challenge that you're looking at right now. Strategy, lead gen, you can just put 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. Okay, I think about a 2, 3, implementation 2. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's always going to be more than one thing. There's always like this one thing that is really the presenting problem. The other ones will show up. And, this is what I'm here for. This is my superpower. This is how I make an impact for people who are interested in making a change in the world. So, so let's look at the second question that I want you to. Leanna says 9. I don't even know what 9 is, but maybe we'll get to that in just a minute. 3. Okay, maybe she just hit the wrong number. Okay, thanks, Leanna. All right, so here's the second question to help us get down the road a little bit more with lasting impact. So the question is, what's your plan? What is your plan to address your biggest challenge or get 10s across the board with your client generation? And how do you integrate that with your current business? Now, if this is bringing up stress, don't worry, in a minute, I'm going to show you how to get some help on this in a minute. But to get started now, just jot down the first few ideas that pop into your head to get that plan started. Yeah. So Leanna, great. Keep on top of Google info that's showing up under a profile and update photos. Ask my customers to review us. Perfect. Great next step. It may not be all the steps, but it's a good start on the plan. Okay. So you'll obviously want to take a little more time to flesh this out. But here's the thing is if you came in here and you've already been kind of struggling to put together a plan, or you're thinking about the plan you have and you're like, ooh, 2024 is coming, it really needs to be tightened up, then let's schedule a time to talk it out and figure it out together. Let's figure it out so that a year from now, we can be celebrating all of your successes and so that you're not struggling with the exact same things a year from now. Now, I'm happy to do this complimentary call, and regardless of whether you're in your first few years of business or you're down the road a bit and things have gotten messy, this is a great option for you if you've been feeling a little stuck in your business, like you're spinning your wheels and you're not sure why. What we do on this breakthrough call is we sit down, we map out where to focus your efforts over the next 3 to 6 months. So you're clear about the best use of your time and energy based on the specific phase of business you're in right now. And let me tell you, if you love going into the new year, knowing you have a plan is definitely the right time to get on a call. Now, before I give you the link to the calendar, I do have 2 simple criteria to qualify. So the first one is, 1, you've got to be willing to receive straightforward feedback. It's a short call. We kind of have to get to the point. And the second thing is, I ask you to be open to consider investing in yourself. If we both see that working together further will give you that tens across the board plan, so you're enrolling new clients consistently without working nights and weekends. So here is the link. It's breakthroughcall.biz. I'm going to drop that in the chat as well. It's a simple, just a calendar link. And again, if you are watching the replay, you are welcome to take me up on this call as well. Just dropped it in the chat. And if you are thinking right now, yeah, Mary must be a mind reader. This is exactly what I need right now. And you're jotting it down and you're saying, I will get to this later. One more time, I'm going to encourage you to do your homework in class. Do it now so your clarity and good intention doesn't get lost in the shuffle.